7th February 2023, 6:40 p.m. Tragedy strikes the Himalayas again. This time it's on the roads. And it's taken 18 precious lives with it. Gilgit Baltistan, Pakistan, is home to the highest, most stunning mountains in the world, and also the deadliest roads in the world. Like the mountains themselves, these scenic roads are merciless to the less careful. Road crashes are common in this region, and given the unforgiving terrain, often deadly. This particular crash seemed like a repeat telecast of a crash in 2019, when a collision of a bus from the same company resulted in 33 fatalities on nearby Babusar top. At that time, the specialist team of investigators meticulously conducted a forensic crash investigation and discovered that the bus was traveling at an extremely high speed at the time of impact. Further research found a leakage in the braking hydraulic system, which resulted in total brake failure. When the driver tried gearing the vehicle down, the substandard shaft also failed and left the bus reeling downhill unimpeded. In an act of total desperation, the driver chose to hit the embankment rather than fall off the cliff. But upon impact, the seats got routed and all passengers got impaled by the seat mountings. If only the vehicle fitness was inspected and the gear shafts were designed as per standard, and if only the seats were securely mounted, all these lives could have been saved. At first glance, these scenes from 2023 look very similar to the 2019 crash. History repeats itself. A high-level inquiry was called to study all details. And when the ADCR team arrived, unfortunately, there was not much left of the wreckage. The first set of tire marks was a group of skids caused by a passenger vehicle. There was another scuff mark turning sharply towards the ravine visible on the road. An unclassified tire mark was also present. On the cliffside, there was a large spill mark. The liquid was later identified as diesel. There were also some metal grooves on the road. Parapet walls were also broken on 2 locations, one for each vehicle. The investigators tried to determine the cause of the skid marks first. These skid marks had a track width between 147 to 153 centimeters, which corresponded to the track width of a Toyota Corolla van. A reenactment was also done during the investigation using the exact same model of the car, and the skids fit perfectly. These marks indeed belonged to the fallen vehicle. A point to be noted is that the front skid marks are heavier and darker than the rear skid marks. With this data, the investigators were able to determine the location and the approach path of the passenger car. To understand the impact, the investigators had to study the vehicles. The car was found completely wrecked due to multiple rollovers. It was visible that the firewall was bent backward, indicating that the car suffered a large frontal force. The right shotgun, the left shotgun, and the bumper C-beam was largely undamaged, suggesting that the impacting vehicle had a high chassis height. The height of the colliding vehicle corresponded to about mid of the A-pillar. Bus paint deposits were visible on the front firewall as well as on the roof. This was a high-speed frontal offset collision in which the bus penetrated deep. It is likely that the driver suffered fatal head and neck injuries upon impact, while the front and rear passengers on the left side had a survival chance. And with this analysis, it was possible to construct the principal force direction of the impact. The investigators also needed to investigate the bus. The bus was completely damaged from all angles and the roof of the bus was detached during the lethal rollovers. With impact marks everywhere, it was hard to say what mark happened when. However, on the front right underside, there were marks of metal-to-metal grinds. These marks could only have been possible upon impact with another vehicle. This bus had also been impacted from the front driver's side prior to the rollover. Interestingly, the team also found evidence of the collision on the right tire. The white paint of the car was embedded on the rim. And with this, the principal force directions of the bus could also be ascertained, which was very similar to the principal force direction of the car. This was a frontal offset collision. And then joining the clock point diagrams of both vehicles, the team was able to build the collision diagram and fully place it on the road. Investigators turned their attention to the scuff marks visible on the road, which were turning towards the river. Scuff marks are not caused by braking. Rather, they're caused by steering sharply at high speed. After examination of the width and trajectory, they concluded that this was likely left by the right tire of the bus, which turned outward after the steering arm broke upon impact. The car was in lane, but the bus was outside its lane. The question now was, why? Simultaneously, the second team was conducting interviews to gather clues. Dr. Taj Khan was present on duty in the nearest village, Shatiyal.
कोई बंदा हिस्ट्री न दे सकता था और न हिस्ट्री लेने का माहौल ऐसा ही था सारा ऊपर से इतना रश था और एक बंदा भी मुकम्मल एक कोई था एक बंदा लेकिन वो मेरे सामने नहीं.
Police officer Saifur Rahman was the first responder from the police.
अंधेरे में हुआ है एक्सीडेंट भी अंधेरे में हुआ है कि मगरिब का नमाज में इस मस्जिद में पढ़कर मैं गया हूँ. अच्छा फिर मैं नहीं थाने पहुंचा आधा घंटे का रास्ता है थाना उधर मैं दोबारा वापस आया जब 7:10 से मेरे मैंने वहाँ पर नोट भी कराया.
One of the bus survivors was a minor girl 14 years of age.
बस के बीच में खड़ी हुई थी और ड्राइवर बहुत तेज़ी से गाड़ी चला रहा था और दूसरी बस का पीछा कर रहा था. बाकी मुसाफिरों ने भी उसे कई बार बोला कि आहिस्ता हो जाओ. फिर अचानक मैंने रोशनी देखी और मैं बाहर की तरफ कूद गई.
Aslat Khan was the only surviving passenger on the car.
वो बस वाला किसी को ओवरटेक किया था उसने फिर आपके सामने आ गया था.
सामने बिल्कुल सामने आ गया और साइड से ओवरटेक किया.
अच्छा
कोई और गाड़ी थी मजरा थी उससे पहले दो तीन गाड़ी आ गया था वो चला गया थोड़ा लेकिन ये ओवरटेक कर रहा था किसी को
तो काट के
दो बस पहले थे उससे 3 बसें अब
तीसरे नंबर पे था अचानक क्यों बाहर निकला है आगे से थोड़ा सा निकाला है तो
Both bus and car passengers reported overspeeding and the bus trying to overtake another bus on a blind curve. With this last piece of the puzzle, the investigators were able to reconstruct the entire scenario. The speed of impact was calculated using skid mark lengths, momentum equations, and line of sight. Both cars were extremely fast for this type of a road. There was another pertinent question. Was the driver overspeeding as his own vice, or was the company aware and turning a blind eye to optimize travel times? Sadly, a look into travel time records of buses between Islamabad and Gilgit revealed a much more sinister connivance and unwritten company policies that endangered human lives. As an outcome of this report, the government took stern punitive action against the company. And after the publication of this inquiry, the government now also requires that all buses share their GPS real-time information with the government and have published route timelines. The companies can no longer attempt to become market competitive by being faster. Human lives matter. And until all parties play their part, crashes like these would happen again. If you like our work, please support ADCR by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our videos.